And we are now recording. Okay, I'm going to admit you. Okay, all right. No one else has to sign in now. I've got it. I just want to make sure we're all set up here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Welcome. Good to have you guys here. Happy Thursday. It's not Wednesday. It's Thursday. Good to have you here. And what we're going to do is we are going to get logged in. They sent me a new procedure. I'm a little doubtful that it's going to work. So if that doesn't work, we're going to go ahead and get you guys your free software license for Revit, in which case we'll be able to access it all because I was able to do that last week myself. So let's go through the process here. They sent me something and I'm going to download it. Again, I'm skeptical, but we'll see how that works. So I'm going to do this real quickly. They sent this and they told me what we need to do. And I've got it right here. So I've actually got a procedure that they gave me. And hopefully this will actually work. Okay. And no one else has to log into that meeting, by the way, unless you want to. You can. I'll let you in if you can. All right, let me do this. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now, and then we'll see if this works. One way or the other, we'll get there. Okay, so this is what we're going to do right now. You can see this going on here. The first thing we're going to do is it says open the Autodesk application Revit is using this example. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Are you guys all, is anyone not logged in? Okay, get logged in. You can please get logged in. Is anybody having issues with their login at all? You shouldn't be, but
Into Autodesk.
what's that?
Into Autodesk.
You just want to log into to your student account. So you're at Brightspace. You just want to log into Brightspace right now, and we'll get to the other in a minute. So just log in to the machine. You have to log in first, and run some scripts. So okay, so let's get you guys logged in. Okay. All right, let me do the attendance real quickly here. Okay, attendance. Luce?
Here.
All right. Samuel?
Here.
Okay, good. Um, Arnold? There we go. Good to have you here. Colin?
Here.
Yep, Bryson?
Here.
Joe Griffey?
Here.
Yeah, all right. Derek? Very good. Victor Caden?
Here.
Hey, Victor, how's it going? All right. Michael, not seeing Mike. Okay. So not here just yet. Jackson.
Here.
All right. Very good. All right. Beckett.
Here.
Very good, Beckett. Good to see you. Nick.
Here.
All right. Good to see you, Nick. All right. James. Not seeing James. All right. Jack Snyder.
Here.
All right. Good to have you here. D.
Here.
All right. Tyler.
Here.
All right. And Blake.
Here.
Perfect. Okay, great. Okay, so here's what we're going to do here. Looks like, all right, at this point, I think everyone's logged in. At least you should be. Is anybody not logged in? Let me know because they got to get you logged in. All right. Hey, Mike. Yeah, just go ahead and log in. I want to get us all through this process here. And so don't log into your laptop. Log into these machines. I want to make sure we have proof of concept for all these. And then we'll move on to the next thing. Okay, looks like you guys are there. All right. All right, Luce, you're in, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, very good. Victor, you're in.
Yep.
And then looks like it says all right, that's good. And then let's see here. Okay, Blake is in. Good. It says butter. It's okay, Blake Utter, butter. Okay, very good. Okay. Very good.
That's me.
Not a bad nickname. Okay, and then okay, Bryson. Okay, let's see who else is here. Okay. Okay, looks like a few of you guys are there, and I will walk you guys through this process. Okay, so here's how it's going to work here. First step. Okay, what you want to do here is the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open the Autodesk application. Revit is using this example. So that means to open up this, you can do it two ways. I'll show you the way that I've been showing my classes for a while. Go up here to where it says Department Apps and click on that. Double click on Department Apps. And when you click on Department Apps, a number of different folders are available. Our folder is Engineering Technologies. So you want to double click and open that up. Open up Engineering Technologies. So you do that. Now, what you're going to do is go here to where it says Autodesk and open up Autodesk. Now, then you're going to go here to Revit 2025. Now, please notice something here. Let me ask you a question. This is a test of logic. All right. You have Revit 2025 and Revit Viewer 2025. Which do you think would be the best choice? What's that?
Revit 2025.
Yes, because if you have a viewer, you can only view things. Please don't make that mistake. Last year I had a student come in, does all this work on his what he's done, and then he's in viewer only. Okay, you don't want to make that mistake. So a simple application of logic will bring us to the point where we don't make that particular choice. So let's go here and let's double click on Revit 2025 and see if they got this thing to work. Drum roll, please. And if it doesn't, I've got a workaround. But we'll go ahead and see if this works. Now, what this is supposed to do now, this pops up right now. That's correct, okay? Now, the sign in here, this is an Autodesk sign in. So what you're going to do here, let me explain what's supposed to happen. What's supposed to happen here now is you sign in here with your student email, okay? Your Monroe Community College email. So just put that in there, and then that should be picked up by the Autodesk class file that has been prepared for this. Let's go ahead and put that in there. Now for me, because I'm an instructor, I may have a slightly different workflow, but we'll see how that works. So I'm going to go to there, and I do this. Now, what's been doing here, okay, you're signed, perfect. Okay, it should say this. Does it say you're signed in? Are you seeing this?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, is anybody not seeing it? You're not. Okay, so you're not seeing it. Okay, so let me see this, okay? What does yours say?
Let's get you signed up on the latest version. And this says I got no active subscriptions.
Okay, we'll get you there. Okay, so if it says you're signed in, raise your hand if you have the screen, please. Raise your hand if you have the screen. Okay, if you don't have the screen, raise your hand. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's go over here. And what we want to do is we want to get to the screen. So I'm going to have to go through this individually now. And let's see what's happening. So let's see what we have going on. So let's get you signed away first. Okay, just go ahead and go to get free trial. Just do that. And that's good. And then scroll down here. You've already got Revit. And unlock student access. Okay, up there. And scroll down. Yeah, just go up here to Revit. Select. And then select that. Okay, continue. And what you're going to do is you're going to put in your information there, okay? It shouldn't be too difficult. Now, you're all set here right now? Nick, right? Oh, Sam. Sam, I'm sorry. Okay, Lincoln is there. Okay. Okay, who else is that logged in? Who else didn't get there? The rest of you guys are all here?
We're good. We already had that screen.
Okay, all right. And this is what you want to do. In this particular case, go to get free trial. All right, and then you're going to want to scroll down. And let's go to, yeah, click on, you know what? No, that's not what you want. That's not what you want. Let's get out of there. Abort. That's not what you want. You don't want some. You don't want that. Go out of there. Okay. Go ahead and, let's try this out. Okay, let's go and let's go down here to what's it. All right, and go to change license type. Yeah, you're going to the commercial. Sure, what's happening. All right, let's do this. Hop up here. Sit down here, so I put this, squared away here. So let's see. Should we do this?
We
And you use your MCC email, right?
Yeah, I did.
No, here, then. All right, so we'll go here. Here, that's good. Let's sign on this.
Oh, you want this one on student?
That's it, exactly. Yes. You want to pick on that?
But yeah, I think.
Okay, what did you do different?
Okay.
Yeah, right to here. Oh,
I like to measure your. It's cool.
there it is. Perfect. Okay. All right, so that's the one. All right, and we'll just here, continue. Okay, what you're gonna do, Joey?
Yep.
Sit down here, and you're gonna need to put in your email address twice, and might ask a couple of questions. All right, who else? Looks like you guys are okay. Yes.
I mean, I just did it by ear.
How we do over here?
Because he was gonna say. So I think we're gonna.
All right.
That's the starting.
All right, see, what you want to do here is, you want to go ahead and click on get free channels. Scroll down to the very bottom. And right here, unlock student access. Scroll down to that. That's select. All right, that's select. And then scroll down here and you want to put in. Yep. Perfect. And then scroll down here a little bit. Yeah, hit continue. And then the address of this school. Whatever, just look it up. You can figure that out. I don't know if that's my institution. You can say University Post-Secondary. Yeah, that's us. Yep. Okay. Make sure you don't pick a place down in Michigan or a place down in Louisiana. School websites, right? 106.edu. So just got to do a little bit of this stuff. You doing all right?
No. Right now.
Go over here and choose get free trial. Scroll down to the bottom. And go to unlock student access. Go to Revit, select student.
Press on everything.
Okay, scroll down a little bit. Change this right here, student. Scroll down, put your birth date in there. Your birthday's coming up. Okay, continue. Educational institution, yes. The address, just look it up. It's Monroe Community College, whatever that is. It should be there. Okay. Anyone else? How is everyone okay? Yes. Good all the way. All right. Colin, you in? Okay. All right, good. Okay. Let's try this again now. Okay, Once you guys are all logged in, you should see a screen that looks like this. Does anybody not see the screen that looks like this? Raise your hand if you're not seeing this right now. You should all be seeing Revit now. Okay. First of all, who's paying attention to me? Raise your hand. Put your hands down. If your screen looks like this, raise your hand, please. If your screen doesn't look like this, don't raise your hand. Okay, look at the bottom of your screen. There's a blue icon down here with a big R on it. That's Revit. Okay, click on that if you see it at the bottom of the screen. If you don't see that, let me know. Should be at the bottom of your screen. And then it should pop up. Still not seeing it?
I'm showing. It's saying let's get you signed up on the latest version.
Yeah, here. Did you finish? Oh, we gotta finish that first, yeah. Let's finish that, and then, okay. Oh, you're just finishing that. Yeah, by the way, if it asks you, for, well, you're not gonna, when you do your own installation of the software, guys, listen, please, this is important. It could cost you a lot of hassle if you don't listen to me right now. I don't make the rules, but I know what they are. If you do decide to download Revit onto your own machine, do not download 2026. If you do that, you will not be able to submit anything to me. That means it'll be good for your personal use, but if you want to be able to actually submit things, you'll have to go to 2025. Is that clear? And that's just how Revit does it. It does not allow you to go back and forth like that. So 2025 is the official course of this class. That's what the school decided to do, and that's what we have there. Okay, so finish logging in, everybody, and once you do, you should be able to see this here. So let me just kind of check it here. You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. If you really I just like I said,
And the process of this guy.
they brought it in 2006. Just so I can try it out. Yeah, I mean, I went straight. I didn't go to.
If you ever need to buy your own, highlight, flash. With 64 gigabytes. Here's. I got two.
All set.
I got two 64 gigabytes. Each.
That's up to 120.
I don't know. The light change? Yeah, but your yeah, the Gmail did not. Google, and the photo track of it.
I don't think I've ever.
I don't even know how to do this, to be honest. Your homework is read this article, highlight, and put information throughout it, and then use it as a highlight number and all the books.
Okay, you're in process. So you can just go down and start.
I'm
not sure how to bring it up, please.
It's supposed to be in here.
Yeah, why you guys so far away? You're trying to be different.
And you can just, okay, on the bottom. Thank you. Hey, thanks for helping each other, you guys. I appreciate that. Because in the class this big, a lot of people doing things. No harm, no foul. You okay? Good job. All right. Life goes on. Life goes on. Okay. All right. So now that we have actually got to where we should have been last week, now we're going to move forward. Okay. Now, if we could all do this right now, let me start to lay the groundwork now that we can actually do this. So when you come into Revit, the first thing you're going to notice is you have some information up here that basically, are a bunch of sample projects and things like that. So we have that going on and we can take a look at those. But what I'm going to do right now, I'm going to give you a quick tour of how Revit works. I'm going to do a quick tour. So to do this, just leave Revit there. And there's a couple things I want to explain. Now, how many people here are Mac people? Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. Very good. Lower your hands. Okay. All right. As you know, Mac and Windows are different. Okay. And the thing is, I have to do both. Okay. I have to go back and forth between the two. But I hate it. Okay. Because I'm much more comfortable in the Windows environment. You're much more comfortable in the Mac environment. And so you probably hate Windows. So we'll get there. But a couple things I will explain as far as like Windows, conventions, the way Windows does things. The way Windows does things, first of all, you know the story of how Windows got invented, right? Anyone know the story of how Windows got invented? Huh? Yes, that's part of it. That's part of it. But there's more, it's much more insidious than that, okay? First of all, this goes back to a town far, far away called Rochester, New York. Believe it or not, the whole thing you're seeing, you're starting in Rochester, New York. There was this project that Xerox started back in the 80s called the Spark Project, S-P-A-R-C. And what they did is they actually were kind of dinking around trying to find, there's got to be an easier way to use these computers. And they came up with the mouse interface. Xerox did that. Xerox invented that. Xerox patented that. And then they didn't know what to do with it. They thought, oh, this might be cool for like maybe GIS, might be kind of cool for surveying. They couldn't think of anything else. So anyway, they just kind of shelved it. Steve Jobs comes along and he says, hey, I think that's a really cool technology. And he comes in and buys it for like pennies on the dollar. He goes and buys it for pennies on the dollar and designs the Mac, where you're using a mouse and you're doing what they did. He got this idea. And so the whole interface that came along with the Mac that made the Mac, actually was all done by Steve Jobs. That's what he did. This is all true. You can look it up. I happen to be around and I watched this whole thing happen. So what happens is at this time, Mac becomes the really cool thing. It becomes the really cool machine. And if you're on a Windows machine, you're just a nerd. You're a nerd. You're a geek. Your cool factor is less than 0. And that was that way. And then Bill Gates, who has the competing interface, which is actually for PCs, okay? That was actually MS-DOS, Microsoft DOS. He says, hey, me too. And he takes the Mac interface, and what he does is he basically just kind of takes it, tweaks a little bit, moves the top close buttons to the other side, and calls it Windows. Essentially totally rips it off. Not as pretty, not as elegant. And he gets sued by Steve Jobs. After a couple of years, he gets sued. And basically what happened is the lawyers won. And so Steve Jobs was found to be, you just got to deal with it, and Bill Gates won. He had better lawyers, he had the money, and he did it. So Windows took over. That's really the whole story. So that's why we have Windows. So is the Mac cooler? Yes. Did the Mac also borrow from somebody? Also yes. And is Windows kind of like the next iteration? Yes. But Windows has become much better, so much so that all the people I know who are graphics people, and I know a lot of people who are graphics and fine arts and so forth, they've all moved to the Windows environment because the machines are cheaper and there's really not much difference anymore. They're great for everything. Okay, now, the first thing I want to point out here is the main thing for you people that are Mac people. Up here, this is how Windows does things. This should be familiar, okay? But the X is you close the window. This is the restore down, or essentially half screen, full screen, half screen, full screen. And this is minimize. You click on this and minimize. When you minimize an application, you click on this minus sign, it brings it down so it goes down to here. All right, that's what that does. So that's just a little bit of, basic information for our Mac people. Okay, now let's jump in here. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to go to Brightspace. So go out to Brightspace. Now, to do this, you can just simply click down here at the bottom of your screen. Just click right down here because this is running. Click right there, and then you're going to go over to your Brightspace, and it should be up here someplace. And you're going to go to Brightspace. So when you go to Brightspace for this class, it looks like this, and you click on the 25 fall item here, and it looks like this. Okay. Let me see how you guys are doing here. I'm just going to watch your screens. So you want to go ahead and open that up so it looks like my screen. You want to open the Brightspace so it looks like mine. Sam, are you there?
Yep.
Okay. I'm not seeing that on my screen. Derek, are you there?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, there's a little bit of a latency on this thing. Tyler, how are we doing there? Are you with me? Okay, so what you want to do is you want to go to Brightspace. And Brightspace looks like this here. Okay, are you seeing this right now? Okay, now again, there's a latency thing going on here, meaning it's not real time, meaning that when your machine actually pops up, I can see your machine, but it might be 20 or 30 seconds before I actually see it. So if I'm asking you over and over again, it's because I'm at the mercy of this thing. Okay. Okay, now that we're here, what we're going to do is we're going to go and we're going to open up a project here. I think this one second here, make sure this is the right one. That is not the one. Let me go to another one here. Yeah, what you want to do here is on the Revit Basics right here. Click on Revit Basics. Now, when you click on Revit Basics, what I do is I teach, next week I'm going to be teaching a full class of people about how to actually do, how to use Revit. So we're going to be doing that next week. So over here, you have this file right here. It says Revit Modern Hotel Final. Okay, you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what you do here is just go ahead and click on that. And when you click on that, this pops up here. Now, what you want to do here is you're going to hit the download button. Now, go ahead and hit the download button. Now, when you hit the download button, you're going to notice that this pops up here at the top right. That is downloading it to your downloads folder. So it goes to your downloads folder. You download, the defaults goes to your downloads folder. So that's what it is right now. But what we're going to do right now is we can just, in this particular case, this is not a template. I'm going to explain something here. When you're working in Revit, there's two different files you're going to be working with. There are Revit projects, which are complete. They're already ready to go. And there are templates. Templates are not. Templates are just like a starting point. We don't double click on templates. We do double click on projects. We don't double click on what?
Templates.
Right, but you do double click on projects. This is to save you time and me time, okay? So you can double click on this one. So this is now the difference between the two. RVT means Revit, okay, meaning it's a Revit project. RTE means Revit template. It'll actually, anyway, so we'll understand that. So for this one, you can just go ahead and double click right there on open file, and you will be looking at a project. So you double click on that, and it opens up. At least it should. Okay, there it is. Now, you guys shall be seeing this. You guys seen this hotel? Okay, now let me explain a couple things here. When you get into Revit, there's a lot going on right now. There's quite a bit going on, but Revit has simplified this thing very, very much. So it's my job right now to make you familiar with this so you know how to navigate. So right now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to navigate. We're going to understand what this interface is doing so that if you ever get hired, you will know what you're looking at and how to actually navigate and find stuff, okay? So right now, what you're looking at is, we talked about last time, a Lego model. This is our Lego model. Now, on your mouse, you have the mouse looks like this, okay? This is a mouse, okay? There are two buttons and a wheel. The wheel is heavily utilized in Revit, heavily. So to use the wheel, you roll it back and forth. So let me show you what you do here. You take your cursor, it's an arrow, looks like an arrow, and put it right on top. Well, actually, just put it right here. Put it somewhere to the upper right, and then just roll the wheel forward. When you roll the wheel forward, you zoom in. You roll the wheel backward, you zoom out. See that? Okay, you can go ahead and do that. That making sense? All right, you with me? Okay. All right, now the next thing you're going to do, to actually pan from side to side, you hold the wheel down. Hold the wheel down and your cursor turns into an arrow, and then you can drag it from side to side. All right, like that. So you can drag it from side to side and do this. Okay, so you zoom in and out, and then you can pull it from side to side. So by doing that, you can do anything. But boy, it sure would be nice if I could actually just kind of look at other angles. Well, you can. Okay, so this is what you do here. Now, you all have two hands. I think you all have two hands. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to use two hands right now. Okay, so first of all, the left hand, you are going to go ahead and you're going to hold down the shift key, and then you're going to hold down the wheel. And then when you hold the wheel down, you can actually rotate this. You hold the shift key down, you hold the wheel down, you can rotate that. Let you pivot it, let you rotate it around and see anything. So if you pivot it around to the back, you can see the back of this, and you can see that there is a pool back there. All right, so you got that. So you zoom in and out. Just hold your shift key down. Just go ahead and just work with that a little bit. Get a familiarity for it. See that you can look at from any angle. Very flexible. You look at the bottom right here. You can actually see the columns and the footings right there. So you're able to do all that. Okay, any questions yet? Okay. All right, so what we're going to do now is let me explain something else. When you're working in Revit, one of the things that you can do is you might get to a point where you have kind of gotten to an inconvenient view. You don't like it anymore. You're like, I don't like that. Okay. Well, what you can do is if you hover your cursor over this right here, you'll see a little house show up. That is your right there. See the little house there? Can you guys see it? Little house on the prairie. You go ahead and click on that, and that brings you back to your original view. So there's a home view. So the home view allows you to get back to where you're at. So anytime I'm teaching, I may say, let's all go to the home view so that we're all in the same spot. Because when I'm teaching, if there's 17 of you in one of me, I'm trying to talk to 17 people in 17 different places, it's madness. So what we do is we just go to that. You guys with me? So that's what we have there. Now, other than that, this is kind of cool here. You can actually use this thing. This lets you kind of pivot around and see things. So for right now, go ahead and click on this where it says front. Click on front and watch what it does. Click on front and watch what it does. It goes ahead and gives you that view. That is an elevation view. You're looking straight on at something, okay? Now, it gets really cool here because if you take your cursor up here, look at all the arrows on the side, around the side. So if I go to this arrow on the right and I click it, it spins it. Just like that. So you can go ahead and rotate it around like that. Pretty cool stuff. So you're able to make that happen. So you're able to go ahead and do that. And then you can even do this. You can flip it upside down. Look at it that way. Flip it in different ways. And that lets you go ahead and do that. And then when you're done doing that, click on the home again. So you're back to here. You're back to where you started from. Okay, so what's the takeaway? Your mouse is the key to being able to navigate. Therefore, let me ask you a question. If you have a laptop and you want to do Revit on a laptop, do you think it's a wise thing to do that with just a trackpad? I don't think so either. I've had people who show up who pay big money for classes, and they come up and they're sitting here and I'll say, okay, right click your mouse. Right click is not working. Let me guess. You don't have a mouse. No, no one told me. Well, it says right in this thing, you have to have a mouse, but okay. And the thing is, so yeah, I got a mouse, okay? Mouse will cost you $2.99, you know, pretty much anywhere, okay? But you can get a mouse, $3 mouse anywhere. So you got that going on. Okay, so now that's the first thing. So that's what you do here. Now, there's a lot more you can do here. Okay, let me show you this. Now, down here at the very bottom, down here, and I think, can you guys see this kind of? Let me do this real quick here. I learned how to do this today. Okay, so I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put this up a little bit so you guys can see a little better. I'm going to go way up there. That way you guys can see it a little bit better. Okay, there we go. So now that we got here, notice that down here, you have a number of different icons down here. This is actually called essentially your view control bar. Down here, your view control. There's a bunch of things down here. The first thing you're going to notice that's a dead giveaway is there's a scale. Eighth of an inch equals a foot. Now, what that does, that simply controls your annotation, your dimensions, your text, things like that. So that's all there. Now, you have something else here. You have a checkerboard. We'll get to that in a second here. And then you have this here, you have a cube. So you got a rectangle that's a checkerboard, and you got a cube. Cube is 3D, 2D is not. So this right here controls what is called the visual style. So right here, this cube, click on that cube. And when you click on that cube, you'll see there's a number of different choices here. So click on the cube, and you'll see the choices right there. And you have wireframe, hidden lines, shaded, consistent colors and textures. Let's go ahead and click on wireframe. Now, when you click on wireframe, this is what it gives you. Pretty unhelpful. There are some times it's great. In this case, it's completely useless, okay? So that's what it does. So let's look at the other views. Let's click on here, and let's try hidden line. Well, hidden line is a lot better. Hidden line is essentially the same thing we've been looking at, but without color. So it gives you that. Now, an interesting thing about this is very often what happens is people who are actually printing, they typically are going to print in black and white. So therefore, if you're printing in black and white, hidden line is a great way to go, because that way you're getting a WYSIWYG. What you see is what you get. This is actually just going to print on the piece of paper. And so you've got that. So that is what you have there. And let's see what else we have here. Let's hit this drop down again. And we're going to go here to shaded. Now, when you go to shaded, shaded actually looks really good. It's actually giving you kind of a shadow towards the front there if you look at it. So it's shaded as if the sun is coming from the rear of the facility. And then we're going to go down here again, and we're going to choose consistent colors. Now, out of all of these, probably the best that I have seen for actually just kind of managing and working in Revit is consistent colors. And the reason why, a couple reasons. First of all, the shaded can kind of like take away some detail. Second of all, what's happening right now is you're working with this. This actually gives you very good clarity. Also, it does not take a whole lot of graphics memory. So this doesn't tax the graphics card. So when you do that, you actually have the ability. By the way, I'm recording this tonight, so the video will be there. So anyone who needs to can review this stuff. Okay, we're going to go down here one more time, and we're going to go to textures. Now, when you go to textures and you zoom into it, you're going to see that, hey, I'm seeing brick now. I'm seeing brick. I'm seeing some other things. Very cool. All right, when you zoom in, you see that. So you're doing that, and then that's looking good. And the final one, which takes the most memory, is realistic. Click on realistic. It might take a second to render. And it's not really even a true rendering. It's just kind of a quick and dirty, explanation. You take a look at that now. Take a look at that. And that is with all of the bells and whistles on right there. If you zoom into here, you're going to see there's actually an area, like an atrium area. And down there, it's like a lobby where people can sit there in this hotel and just kind of hang out. So that is what is going on there. You can see a lot going on here. You can see the railing here that's on the second floor and so forth. So we're going to be learning about all this stuff. Any questions? Okay, so far so good. Okay, let's go back and change this to consistent colors, because that is the least problematic here. So now I'm going to go up here, I'm going to pull this down just a hair, and I'm going to do that. Okay, so we do that. Okay, now that I've done this, what we're going to do next, now we're going to figure out something else here, because when you're working in Revit, and when you're creating a project like this, the ultimate goal is to be able to put a project together, to design it, and then to give it to your customer and get paid for it. That's the goal. So therefore, this is not enough. This is not enough. You have to present this to your customers so they can look at it and say, yeah, that's a floor plan. I'm looking at that. It's X amount of square feet. I can see the hallways. I can see everything. We're looking good here. So let's see what we do here. Now, to do this, this all happens over here with what is known as the project browser. This is a project browser right here. And the project browser right here allows you to see all the different views. So everything, every view, every way you can look at your project is here. So what we're going to do right now is we're going to click the plus sign to the left of floor plans. Click the plus sign to the left of floor plans. And when you do that, you're going to see that there are some floor plans here. And as you take a look here, you got a basement, you got a floor one, you got a floor one dimension plan, a floor one furniture plan, a floor one life safety plan. So all these are all available here. So let's take a look at a couple things here. First of all, just go to floor one. Double click on floor one. When you double click on floor one, boom, you get this. Now this is a floor plan. Again, all of this is integrated. This is the Lego model. We're taking a look at the first floor of the Lego model. Now, as you take a look at this, you're going to notice that this has a lot of the same conventions you would have on any kind of set of plans. Like last week when I showed you the hospital that I had measured down in Brooklyn, it actually had a grid, so that's normal. And then at the grid at all the intersections, what do you suppose are the intersections of the grid? What would be there? What holds up a building? Columns, exactly. Okay. So more often than not, you got columns where the intersections are. That's what's going on there. So you got the columns. Okay. Now, that means that if I'm looking at this right now, I could identify a column by saying, okay, there's a column at C1. That's the column at C1. It's like Battleship. You ever hear of play Battleship? Okay, to play Battleship, it's the same kind of a thing. So your column layout is essentially like Battleship. And then everything else you have in here is based on coordinates. Now, there's other stuff going on here. The walls, that's pretty easy to understand. I see there's some exterior walls, and there's some interior walls. And besides that, I see these things, okay? These triangles, okay? So this triangle is facing this wall. This triangle is facing this wall. This triangle is facing three walls. What those are what are called tags, okay? Tags call out information. This is where this is really interesting. Because what happens is that information can then be drawn out of Revit and put onto a table, onto a spreadsheet, onto a listing, and printed up and given to the estimator and say, this is how much brick we're going to need. This is how many doors we're going to need. This is a huge thing. And Revit integrates the whole thing. So as soon as you put this together, you have it. As soon as you put it in, it's there. All you got to do is just run the report. It's really pretty cool. So anyway, those are known as reports, and these are tags. And the tags actually call them out. The other thing you have are actually room labels. You have that kind of thing. Then you have something else. These right here. Now, I know a lot of you have probably seen plans before. Anyone got a guess as far as what this might be? Okay, look what it's doing. It's actually slicing through a wall. Any idea what that'd be?
Elevator?
Actually, it's a good guess, but it's close to that. It's not, though.
Section.
Huh?
Sections.
Section. Ding, 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 ding. Give that man a cigar. Yes, okay, that's a section. So that means if I want to see a section, I can double click on the tip of the triangle and it'll show me that. So let's do that. Double click on the tip of that triangle, and which is this one right here, and double click there, and it brings up a section. Now that's a wall section. This wall section is actually showing me from the basement to the parapet actually what's going on here. And I'm seeing this right now. These are the kind of things you have to have called out when you're putting together a project for a customer. They have to have a wall section. They always have to have a wall section. That's part of the whole thing here. Okay, now this one right here is actually a curtain wall. Now, what's a curtain wall? A curtain wall is actually, you've probably noticed that in this building right here, there are certain halls that you walk through, and essentially it's all glass. It's like floor to ceiling glass with maybe a little brick on the bottom. That's a curtain wall. A curtain wall is essentially anything that's mostly glass. It's not weight bearing. The glass is not bearing any weight because it couldn't. But what it is, it's built in, and so therefore you can actually look out. It's nature area. So it's a curtain wall. That's what that is. So the curtain wall is there, and you're slicing through it, and you're seeing this very thin glass. That's all you're seeing, all the way from there to there. That's how that is right there. And the weight is being carried by columns in other places. So we have that. Okay, let's take a look at something else here. Let's go over to our project browser over here. Project browser, and we're going to scroll down here. Grab this. Now, this is how you scroll down. This little bar right here. You click on it and hold it down. And we're going to go down here to where it says, let's go to elevations, building elevation. Click right here on the plus sign next to elevations, building elevation right there. Click there. And now you have your choice of different elevations. You got east, north, and then you got south and west. You have some pool views as well. This particular building faces, I think it faces the north. So double click on north. Double click on north. Actually, that's the back. But that's okay. That's fine. We've looked at that. Now, we're taking a look right now. This is the north. It actually faces the south, but that's okay. What we're going to do now is, let's say we take a look at this. You're thinking, you know what? I really want that to be in color. We go down to here and we click on our view control, and we choose consistent colors. And right away, you're seeing something that looks a lot better. So as you're working with Revit, and what this did is it gave you some clues about what's going on. The blue indicates glass, 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 and over here you got glass. That's the curtain wall we talked about. So you have that right there, and now you're seeing these different views. So you're seeing elevation, section, a floor plan, and a 3D view. Now, let's say you want to see all these at the same time. Let's say you want to tile it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's say you want to do that. Well, there's a way to do that. And the way you would do that is you would go over here to where it says view, right up here at the top. This is called your ribbon. You got architecture, structure, steel, and so forth. View is over here towards the right. So click on view. And when you click on view, over here towards the right, you have this that says, let's go ahead and use tile views. And you click on tile views, it does that. So now you're seeing all 4 of them. Now, they're not zoomed. You can't see them. None of them are maximized. So to make them all zoom out at the same time, type ZA, and it goes ahead and zooms them all out. Very quick. You might want to make a note of that. ZA zooms everything.
Where do we click on view again?
Okay, you go to view is right up here.
Oh.
And then you go over here to the right and go to tile views. All right. And then, does it look like this now, Colin?
Mhm.
And then type in ZA. Okay. All right. Now, what you got happening here are you have 4 different views, all looking at the Lego model from different ways. So that's what's going on right here. So all this is coming together and making that happen. Any questions about this so far? Okay. Yes.
I don't know why, but I got called.
You had more windows open. That's okay.
Oh, that's why.
That's all. It'll whatever you have open, it's going to go ahead and give you that. Okay. And so that brings up another question. What if I want to close these? Okay. So which is completely appropriate. Now, the way you do that is you have each one of these particular views right here. You see this X right here? If you hover the cursor over any one of these, you can close that. So let me show you how that works. So you can do it that way. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to click on the X for north. I click on the X for north, that closes. I click on, and I can click on these other ones. And then I can go ahead and as I'm in them, I can go ahead and close them one at a time. So just go ahead and do that. Now, you have to leave one open. So you see, I can't close it because it's going to say, do you want to save changes? Because it means you close this, you've just said you don't want this anymore. Well, we don't want to do that. So hit cancel. And instead we'll just leave that there. So we don't want to get out of there. And what we'll do now is we'll just go back to our floor plan. So we'll scroll back up here and we'll go ahead and open up floor 1 again. Because I want to go back to there. So go back to floor 1 and it looks like this. So you can look at one particular view at a time or several at a time. And you can close them. There's a lot of other ways to do this, okay? I'm going to, and everything I'm showing you right now, I'm showing you one way. There's probably at least 3 ways to do most things in Revit, but I'm not going to show you all 3 because it can be confusing. So I stick with one, and later on you'll say, well, Mr. Brennan didn't show us how to do this. You know, he must not know. Well, I do know, but I don't want to confuse you. I don't want to just keep on shoveling stuff on you, you know? So it's like, you know, one way to do it, you know, why another way? Cool. All right. That's what you're supposed to do, your students. That's what students do. They find stuff out. Yeah.
I feel like close out my property tab.
No.
I don't know how to open.
Okay. Common problem. Okay, this is going to happen to you all. Every time I teach this class, particularly the first night, what will happen is you'll close the properties. You cannot really, this happens all the time. It's going to happen next week when I'm teaching my other students, okay? And what you do then is you actually can go ahead and turn that back on. A couple different ways to do that. We're still on this tab that says view. Click right here where it says user interface. Click right there. See this over here on the far right? Click on user interface and then put a check mark in properties. You see it? And you're back in business, okay? So that is all you have to do. The user interface has that. Everyone okay? Okay, you look slightly troubled. Everything all right?
Oh, no, I'm fine.
Okay, good. All right. Because sometimes when you're teaching like this, you good?
How often does this like how often? What if you get so far ahead?
Oh, yeah, that's a great question. Well, typically you guys are going to be joining the tip, and you'll be doing project reviews pretty often to make sure you're on pace. Now, I've never been employed in an architectural firm, but what I did is I worked in a facilities firm, which was kind of similar. What we would do is we'd actually, did I tell you about what I used to do in Detroit? Did I tell you guys what I did? Well, besides playing with Chancellor. But when I was in Detroit, what I used to do is when I first got my first CAD jockey job, I was working at this place called Computerized Facility Integration. And our number one client was General Motors, which is a good client to have. And what we did for General Motors is we took all their floor plans like this, and what we did is we drew polylines, boundary lines in AutoCAD throughout the whole facility, and then we tracked that information in a huge database. So what that meant is somebody who's sitting, on Jefferson Avenue in the GM headquarters can actually sit down there and type in a couple things, and this comes up and gives a complete report of all the land holdings of General Motors. There's a lot of money in this. There's a ton of money in this because the number one investment until COVID of most companies is in their brick and mortars in their buildings. That's number one. Like when you talk about Monroe Community College, what's the number one expense? Probably the building, or it might be employee salaries now. Depends. Okay, depends upon how that's all structured. But the building is a big part. You've got to get the building. You got to have the building. Right now, this thing they're building over here, the new ATC Center, you know how much that costs? Do you think they're building that without having to build it? No, there's money that says we got to do this. And before you make those decisions, you have to look at it. You have to do analysis. You have to see, is it time to build or can I just lease a place for cheaper? And that's a huge question. And sometimes it makes sense to build. Sometimes it makes sense to lease. Sometimes it makes sense to just consolidate. All right. But that's what we did. And as we were there, we did a ton of this kind of stuff. And so as we did that, as we worked with customers and so forth, we found out that we'd find out what they needed, and then we do that. Now, getting back to your question. So when we would do this, the way I worked it when I was a project manager, my big customers were Owens Corning World Headquarters. You've heard of Owens Corning, the Pink Panther, the pink, you're not a fan?
I don't like your shingles.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, I had to work for them. So what they did is back in 1996, they had their world headquarters in Toledo, Ohio, actually designed by Caesar Pelli, who was this like avant-garde architect. And so he did this really cool thing. And so what they wanted to do is they wanted to set it all up so that everything was set up. We had it basically so we had a room database. It was space analysis. Now, when we got into this, and I was working on this project with them, I had weekly meetings with the customer. So every week I'd come down, sit down. Hi Scott, how you doing? Oh, great. How was your week? Oh, it's great. How are the kids? Yeah. Okay, where are we at with the project? And then we sit down and we do analysis and we talk about that. So yes, you definitely are going to want to talk to the customers. And anytime you're going to be doing something that's not in the scope, you want to make sure you get them, or you're not sure is in the scope, you talk to them. So that's a great question. That's a very good question. And this is one of the things that Revit allows. We're not going to get into it in this class because we're not set up to do it. We're doing good just to get into the product. But there's a thing called work sharing. Work sharing is the methodology by which Revit is shared by different people. And this is why. Because when you work with Revit, there are probably at least 5 different disciplines, more than that, but let's just put down 5. So you got architecture, you got structural, you got mechanical, you got electrical, you got plumbing. Those 5 right there. And then I could go ahead and say you got interior design, you got landscaping, you've got audiovisual, you've got all that stuff. So all of those people are involved in this, okay? And so all of this can be coming out of one project. So when you're putting this together, you want to make sure everyone's on the same page. So the environment to do that is called work sharing. And now AutoCAD is using a thing called AutoCAD Construction Cloud, I think it's called. And so ACC. And everybody who's using Revit or AutoCAD is using ACC. Everybody. The people who come here next week, I'll guarantee they're using it. What's that? Yes, simultaneously. And when something is done in one place, you see it suddenly appear.
And what if they start messing with your one?
Well, that's where you set it up so that they don't have permission to do that. Like, for instance, architecture people work on architecture, mechanical people work on mechanical. They pretty much, that's a rights thing. So you set up so people don't get in each other's way. Now, that being said, that's where you have to set up as the BIM manager. BIM is Building Information Modeling. Okay, or Building Information Management, I think is actually the proper name. But BIM is the big thing that everybody uses. So getting into that level right there, that means that what has to happen is somebody's had another conversation. And what they're typically going to do is they're going to start really, really small and really, really basic. And then as time goes by, they will actually define those rights and so forth. But everybody can simultaneously see what's going on. Also, you can set it up so that if somebody does need to make a change to a wall or something, they have to go into it, and then if you got it, they get locked out. The thing comes and says, Mike's in it right now. Okay, so to lock them out. So then what you would do is you'd send a request, hey, I gotta change this. Can we do that? You can sign on these, and the other person signs in. So you can do that. It's really cool. And so that keeps everybody on the same page. So you're all working together. Okay, now now that we've done this, we got kind of bare bones information about this. And that is how we do that. There's a lot more I could teach. But what I want to do tonight is we're 7 o'clock. Okay, so what I'm going to do right now, we have 50 minutes. Okay, and the thing is, I don't ever want to go over for you guys because there's a game on tonight. All right. Plus, I just don't like to do that. We're all working. We're all, and I also learned that the brain can only absorb what the seat can handle. Okay, so if I'm pushing you guys too hard and you're just kind of like, get me out of here, I've lost my edge, and you're not learning anything. So I want to get us into a project, and we're going to do this classroom. Okay, I said we're going to. Now we will. Let me show you a couple more really basic things, and then we'll get into this. Now, the other thing I want to point out here is we talked about this, and we're looking at that right there. There's a few other things you can do here that are really important. One thing we're going to do right now is we're going to put a dimension between here and here, because it's always important to know how to measure something, make sure it's right. So we're going to put a dimension between E and F. Well, how do we do that? If you click on this thing right up here, that's your dimension. Can you guys see that? Yeah, click on it's a dimension. It's like a slant. Can you see that? If you hover your cursor over it, it'll say aligned dimension. And then you want to go ahead and click on the grid line for E and then the grid line for F. So we go up here, we click here, click there, and then we click here, and then we click there. Now, once you've done that, it starts to show you what it's going to be. Then just click anywhere in white space. Click anywhere in white space, and it stays. Now, when you take a look at it, you zoom into it, press your escape key to release it, press your escape key. And what is the dimension for that? 17 feet. TYP. What does TYP stand for? Think. Let's use logic. What do you think that might mean? What's that? Good guess. Good guess. All right, but if you zoom out a little bit here, look at the spacing between D to E, E to F, F to G. What?
Right.
Typical. Exactly. They're typical. So when you see that note TYP, it means they're typical, meaning that, look, if I don't measure the rest of these, it's because they're all the same. Okay, that's what that means when you see TYP. So that's set up to do that right there. That's how you put in a dimension. Okay, just that easy. Boom, boom, done. Let's put in another one. Put another one from F to G. And that's probably going to show up the same thing. So we click on the dimension. We go from F to G. And then you have to click in white, and you're good to go. And that's how you go ahead and make that happen. All right, then to release it, press your escape key. Yeah, Arnold.
Measured from A to B and it's 10 and it's still showing typical.
What's that of?
I measured from A to B and it's 10 and it's still showing typical.
Yes, yes. And the thing is, the typical notation in this case is because what's going on right here is that TYP is part of what's called the dimension style. And this dimension style is set to always say TYP. So in this particular project right here, we wouldn't actually use that. We really wouldn't. It's just what's running by default right now. And I want to, remember what I talked about the first week? You got to crawl first, and then you stand, and then you walk, and then you run, and then you run real fast. We're still crawling. Okay, so we'll get to the point where we get into some other stuff right now. So yes, he's right though. If you measure between A and B, it's still going to say 10 feet. It's going to say TYP, but the TYP is actually part of what's called the dimension style. We'll talk about that later. That can be changed. In this case, this is just strictly for showing people what this looks like. Okay, next thing I'm going to show you is we're going to do one more thing here. Press your escape key to let that go. Okay, now zoom into this office here. Zoom into the office. It's right there. It's office. It's 105. Now, when you look at the office and it says 105, you're going to notice that there's a big diamond with the number 3 in there. That's a wall tag. And it's touching the wall to the left, touching the wall to the right, and touching the wall beneath. And we don't need to see that. So there is a way to hide that. In AutoCAD, there's a thing called layers. Revit has a similar thing allowing you to hide issues. So let me show you this. Go ahead and click on this tag. And you click on the edge of it. Click on the edge of it. When you click on the edge of it, it all highlights. Then right-click your mouse and go down here to hide in view these elements. Actually, choose category. hide and view category. When you do that, when you choose category, all of them disappear. All those items disappear just like that in the whole drawing. They're all gone now. This over here is a different kind. That's actually a window tag. Let's make that go away too. So click on one of the lines for the window tag, right click your mouse, go to hide and view, and choose category. Category means the whole thing goes. Yeah,
Are you able to just, if it's just the first one, it says repeat hide category, can you just?
you can do that.
Every time?
You can do that. Yes, yes, you can. Very good, very good. And the thing is, those are the kind of things I want you to find, you know, as you're going along here. Oh, there's a lot of automated stuff in here. Okay, let's zoom into this office. Okay, I'm going to show you a couple things about this, and then we're going to get into doing the classroom tonight. And that's a graded project. All right, now, so over here, what we're going to do is we're looking at this office right here. Let's do this. Click on the door. Click on the door. When you click on the door, it turns blue. It also gives us, this is actually the tag for the door. That's a door tag. 105 is the door tag. Now, once you click on that, there's a lot that's going on right now. A lot. Let's just pay attention to this right now. First of all, it tells us the tag. That is the door's unique number. Any facility that's really managed properly, the doors are numbered. That door's probably, let's take a look. Usually there's a tag on it somewhere if it's done properly. If it's not, no judgment. But the thing is, it should be. And so usually what you got right here is on the door itself, there's actually going to be, okay, you got a button, actually right here, you got a barcode. There's a barcode right here. And the barcode says 09157, meaning that is the tag for this door. So that is how these things are tracked. When you get into this right here, how much do you think a drawing this costs?
Grand.
Probably, yeah. Okay, 900, 1,000. I think you're right. Okay, with all this glass right here, oak. Yeah. How about the installation?
Another 500.
Yeah, probably, right? And you got all this going on right here, and then you got to get in this big honking wall. Okay, so it's got to be offset. You got to have some kind of framing and shimmy that goes on. So this door right here, conservatively, is probably $2,000. All right, all total, and the hardware side. And you got the best lock systems. You know how much these are worth? These best locks right here? It's insane how much they get for these things. All right. So all this right here, about $2,000. You may think, wow, that's a whole lot more than Home Depot. Well, yes, it is, because they know what they're doing. And the thing is, this actually has to conform to certain standards. This is probably also fire rate. You know, because you have to fire rate doors. Also, the fact that we have this, can I ask you a quick question here? Do you think it's proper, it's according to, okay, code? Would it be proper according to code to have the door chopped open like this? Probably not. Why not? Fire. And the reason why is there's three things, if I have any Boy Scouts in here or Girl Scouts, three things you have there for fire. You got oxygen, yes. Combustion and fuel. All right. So what you got is those three things. So if you leave a door open, oxygen, because as soon as the fire starts, what happens? It starts to suck in the air. You ever been like you got a fireplace? When you put your hand in the fireplace, you feel the bush, you feel the air, kind of the air differential. That's what happens. So when a fire is actually happening, it's crazy. You know how out in California, when the wind starts, the wildfires just go crazy? So it's actually, you close this door, you have reduced the chance of the fire spreading, I mean, like exponentially. So that's why. I really know. Just because I don't want to get too hot here. Okay, so anyway, so what you got here is this is measuring right here. Now notice, we talked about this last week. This is a really important thing. When you're measuring something, you don't just, close only counts in horseshoes and hand grenades. So that means if you're going to measure something, you have to be dead on. You got to be dead on. That means you're not close. That means you're right on one and you're wrong on the other. That means they all have to be measured properly. Now take a look at this. You've got this blue line coming right here. It's coming right off of here, the edge of the column. So this dimension is from the edge of the column to the center of the door. And that's 2 feet. That's what that is right there. So let's just accept that that's what we want to do. And let's say that we wanted this door to be offset from the column 4 feet. Click on that blue 2 feet and type in 4. You don't have to type in the foot number, just type in 4. When you type in 4, watch what happens.
Does it change it for each floor?
No, just this one.
What if they want all the floors? No, it's uniform.
Then what you would do is you get one floor right, and then then what you would do is you would do a thing called copy, align to level. You do it that way, and that works very well. So that's how you do that. So this one is like that. Now, yeah, so that's a good question. Okay, so now here's the next thing you can do. So that thing moved. Now notice what it did is the wall was broken. The wall was broken at the new location. No need to go in and edit it. That's done for you. So there's an intelligence in this parametrics and constraints that do that for you. It knows it's a wall. It knows there's a door. So therefore that's to work. Now, look at these little arrows. You got up and down arrows. Click on the up and down arrows and watch what happens. Flips the door. Okay, just like that. Okay, and then you have a right and left arrow. Click on that. It flips the door the other configuration. So you go this way. So what's happening there is you're able to go ahead and get a lot going on simply by clicking on these arrows and so forth. But that's not all, because over here is properties. Properties tell you what's going on with this door. This is a door, single panel, 36 by 80 inch door. That's the type that it is. And you could actually have a cost associated with it, a default hardware set, all kinds of stuff. Okay, you've got the level of floor one, the sill height and so forth. The swing angle is 90 degrees. Huh. The swing angle is 90 degrees, and I can edit that. Go ahead and type in 45. Click on the 90 degrees and type in 45. So you go over here and you type in 45 and press enter and watch the change. So what that did is to just change the door. So there's some things you can do with minimal effort to change the appearance and the actual presentation of your file. Let's go back to swing angle, change it back to 90. Okay, all right, so that's looking good there. Okay, now I'm going to do one more thing, and then we'll get cracking on the other thing. Okay, so I just pressed my escape key to release it. Let's click on it one more time. Click on this right here, and what I want to do is I want to do something a little bit different. Let's say I wanted to measure not to the edge, not to the middle of the door, but to the edge of the door. I can click on this right here, and I can just move it. I can move this, what's called the witness line, and I can align it right there with the edge of the door. See that? I grabbed this, and I moved it from the midpoint to right to there, so that now it's measuring to the edge. So the new distance from the column to the edge of the door, or the door opening, is what?
2.6.
2'6". That's exactly right. So now, if I wanted to put this back, if I click on this once, it goes to the other side of the door. If I click on it again, it goes to the middle. All right. So just clicking on this, you've got one side of the door, other side of the door, and the middle. Okay. So whenever you're working with this, you have control over your dimensions and what you're measuring. Remember that. That's going to be helpful for you. Help you from making costly mistakes. Now, let's go ahead and put this back where it was. Let's click on the 4 foot and type in 2, and that goes right back to where it was. Okay, and we're going to be doing more than that, but for right now, I think that's going to be enough to get us going here. Now, yes, so let's just go ahead and let me show you one more thing before we go any further. If you ever want to see this in 3D, it's default 3D, there is this house up here. It looks like a Monopoly house. That's your default 3D view. Click on that, and don't save the project. You don't need to save it. Okay, just go ahead. If it says that, just go ahead and ignore that. But just click on this, and it'll bring you out here. And we're back to our 3D view. All right, before we leave this, do we have any questions? This is just kind of a brief introduction, but we opened up a pretty big can of worms. Any questions at all? Take that as a no. Okay, we'll go ahead and we'll close this. So to close a project, you go to File, and then you go to Close. Do you want to say Change to Arc Final? We'll say no, and we get out of there. Now, anytime you want to, you can go ahead and open up Revit anytime you want to. Go to Brightspace, download that file, and just go ahead and use it. Just go ahead and mess with it. Just take a look at it. It's actually a file that I actually use for the class I'm going to teach next week. I've been teaching for a number of years. It's a great one just for looking at stuff. It's well set up. But you will find certain issues with it, like the dimension style that you found. There's certain issues with it are all. Yeah.
As an architect, you're building a building, it's super gnarly. How do you know it's feasible to build?
Okay, that's a great question. So if you have a design that's just kind of really out there, How do you know if it's feasible if you can build it? Great question. First of all, there's one thing that happens with Revit. Revit has constraints actually built into it, where you can't do anything that's too crazy. You can't break certain standards. You can't have stairs that actually have, 20 inches between the rides. You can't do that. It won't let you do it. They'll just say, no, I can't do this. So some of it, Revit will handle. Some of it, Revit can handle. I would say most of it. Revit's going to determine whether this is a physical possibility. That's pretty much all it's going to do. Can you really do this with what you have here?
If you want a crazy calendar.
If you want to do a crazy cantilever, basically depend. Okay, that's a dependent question right there. That's a good one. As far as cantilevers, that's a good question. I've never worked heavily with cantilevers. I think you might be able to get away from it. That's why you have to have structural people too that are working with you. If something's too crazy, you'll be able to, like for instance, let's say, like I'm building a deck right now, putting a deck in the back of my house, and I put it in Revit. And I could set it up so I have one post for every 40 feet. I could do that. And Revit's just going to say, whatever, I don't care. It doesn't, as long as you can draw it, and it's actually looking that way, they may say, well, maybe he has some kind of titanium, framing, right there. It's not going to pick that up. Now you can get add-ins, and opens up another huge can of worms. When you're working with Revit like this is vanilla out of the box. This is what it does. That being said, Revit's been around so long, there are all these third-party applications that do exactly what you just named. You can get packages that actually do complete framing. Now you set it up, it'll pull all your studs out. You want to go ahead and put trusses up, it'll put your trusses together. It'll give you a truss catalog. It'll tell you exactly what you want. It'll do all that kind of thing. Doors, all those kind of things. Cantilevers, decks, all those things are actually available to you as add-ons, but they don't come with Revit necessarily automatically. But I can say this, if there's a market and somebody has sat in your seat and asked the question, somebody's made the software for it, and you can pay extra to get it. So that's the thing. You gotta love technology, you gotta love commercialism, you gotta love capitalism. So somebody's willing to make it, that's a cool thing. Actually, here's something else too. When you have Revit, you see this right here, this monitor right here? Someone had to make these monitors in Revit. Somebody had to do that. It's a business going on right now. So if you get really good, this is known as a family. So if you're really good at making a family type thing, and you can make it good enough, you can make money because you can make libraries for people. I'm actually doing that for a customer right now. It's kind of cool. And so there is money in this stuff. There's really a lot of money. If you just decide, you know what, I just want to make a Revit family. They're really good at it. I want to make railings for decks. And you team up with somebody that's doing customized milling and so forth. You have a very good partnership there because they don't know how to do it. They know how to run a mill. They know how to run a lathe, but you know how to do this, and they need you. All right. So
that more of SolidWorks?
What's that?
Isn't that more of a SolidWorks design?
Actually, no. This is a crazy thing because Revit has all this. What I call Revit candy. Okay, Revit candy is all these components and so forth that you have to actually dress up a project and make it look good. So when you render it, it looks right. Okay, SolidWorks doesn't really talk to Revit that way. There's ways you could get there, but it's too painful. So what you typically do is you go into Revit and make it yourself. And then once you've done that, it's native Revit, and it's kind of a cool thing.
Wait, so Revit could design like small parts?
Yeah, I've done it myself. You do it. You can do it. Yes.
So like, sorry, this is just a clarifying question here.
Yeah.
And I often draw parallels to robotics. I
Yeah.
guarantee you won't hear the last.
That's okay.
But in robotics, what we often have to do is we have to machine the aluminum by putting some triangular holes in it.
Mhm.
Can Revit get that down to like 1/1000th of an inch?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
you could do
did
it.
that in SolidWorks.
What's that?
You could design like a whole motor. Then it becomes all animated.
Yeah. Now let me explain something here though. Just because you can make something in Revit doesn't mean it's the best tool and the best application.
Yeah.
For when you're doing it in Revit, Revit is not for this. Revit is not to show an automation. Revit's not to show an assembly line. Revit doesn't do that. It's not robotics. But what Revit does want, you want to show this on your plan, you want it to be realistic. That's as far as you got to go with Revit. But can you do parts and bits? Oh, absolutely. And absolutely, I've done it. I do it. And the thing is, it's really kind of cool how far you get. And when you get in to see people that have done like whatever, a Mustang, or, maybe they've got something like what else, it's like an electric bass or an amplifier, all that stuff's been made. And so you kind of grab it and dump it into your project and you're good to go. So anyway, it's out there. The libraries are pretty extensive now. Okay, let's do this now. What we're going to do is we measured this last week. Who remembers the dimensions of this room nominally? Yes.
28 by 30.
28 by 30, and we rounded up to 30 by 30, just to kind of like be, not to be too hard on ourselves. So we're going to do a 30-foot by 30-foot room. We're just going to use, I think, the 8-inch wall, and we're going to do this. So let's do this. First of all, what we have to do, I said at the beginning that when we're working on projects in this class, I will always give you a template. Always give you a template. So I'm going to show you where to look for this template. The template is on Brightspace. The project is called CAD Classroom. So let's go out here and we're going to go over to Brightspace and we're going to go to the classroom project right here. So click on the classroom project. And when you click on the classroom project, notice this right here. RTE. Is that a Revit project or is that a Revit template? We double click on templates, right?
No.
Ding, 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 ding. Thank you. Okay, good. It's just going to save you a hassle. The reason why is, well, I don't want to get into it because it's going to happen soon enough and I'll explain the workaround. It's not like, oh no, but you just got to go through a few more steps. I'm trying to make it as simple as I can. We're crawling. So here's your CAD Classroom template. Click on it. And when you click on the CAD Classroom template, it shows you a place you can download it. Right here, download. What is the default folder that downloads go to? Downloads. Yeah, so click on download. And there it goes. So I'm just going to double click on this, right? No, I'm not going to do that because that's what you don't want to do, okay? Instead, you go to Revit and you say models, new. You click on new. And then when you go to new, you browse for the template you just downloaded. So you go to this browse button. And then you go over here, and this is actually, the downloads don't show up here, but if you go to my computer, go to desktop. If you go to desktop, you'll see downloads right here. Click on desktop, you'll see downloads. And when you click on downloads, there's your CAD Classroom. You guys see that?
Yeah.
So go ahead and click, I've got 2 of them, you'll have 1 of them. I'll just grab this one and click open, and I'll hit OK. Okay, so now, here we go. We got enough time to get this done. What is that there? Oh, I left that in there from last time. Yes, all right. Well, maybe, wow, I guess, do you guys see that too?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't clear it out well enough. Just go ahead and delete it. That's a monitor I left over to the side. Okay, now here's what we're going to do now. First Revit project. Okay, now what you're going to do right now is we're in a top-down view, and what we want to do is we have a 30-foot by 30-foot room. Yeah, Colin.
How do I open up the project again?
You can tell them.
Go to desktop. Now go to your downloads. Then and hit open. Just click it and hit open. At the bottom.
I'm blind.
Then okay.
Got a winner? Yeah, he's all set, Dave?
Yeah,
I think
All
so.
right. All right, does it look like this?
yes.
Yes.
You're good. You're good. Okay, so now
Right here.
okay, we're going to do a couple things here. Okay, so what we're going to do is as we begin to draw this, we are going to place some walls. And again, remember our height of these walls. The height of these walls is probably 8 foot there, probably 10 foot here, but we're not going to worry about it. We're just going to make them 10 foot all the way across. We're going to do that. So we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to start by just drawing we're going to start with a couple things here. So let me show you what we're going to do here. You're going to go over here to where it says wall. Right here you see wall. Click the little triangle underneath, and you have your choice of 3 different kinds of walls. In this class, it's always going to be wall architectural. So click on wall architectural and stop. Stop. Our default wall has a thickness. What is the default wall thickness?
inches.
12 inches, right. Okay, also it has a default height. Can you see where it says here, top constraint? It says unconnected and 20 feet. Can you see that?
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna click on this arrow over here, which is unconnected. And we're gonna say up to level 1. That's gonna give us a 10-foot wall. Y'all see that? Up to level 1, you have that?
Yeah.
Okay, now, we're gonna change, okay. Top of the wall is lower than the base of the wall. How is that possible? Up to level 2. I'm sorry. I've been at this for too long. Up to level 2. Sorry. Of course, they're totally right. Hey, Mike, that is an example of Revit saying you can't do that. All right. It basically said, Tom, you've been drinking. Okay, you cannot have a wall that goes from the first floor up to the first floor. What's that?
It didn't come up on that.
It came up on mine. Well, the thing is, did you choose up to level 2?
Up to level 1.
Well,
I also got here.
you did? Okay, okay. So I made an error. Okay, so it's yes, it happens. Happens all the time. So now you got up to level 2, and it says 10 feet down here. Now, let's click up here. Now, up here, this is your properties. Now, oh boy, I sure wish there were other walls available. Man, I wish there were walls available. Well, if you click on this little triangle, there's more walls available. There's a bunch. And depending upon your template, you're going to have walls. Over here, you've got the exterior brick and CMU on metal stud, which is the brick wall that we saw on the hotel. We don't need all that. We're just going to scroll down here, and we are going to choose generic 8 inches right here. I'm deliberately going simple. So go to generic 8 inches. So go ahead and do that. Now let's stop because there's actually something else we can do. What have we done? We've said we want to use an 8-inch wall. It's going from the first floor, going up to the second floor. The second floor is 10 feet up. All right. Now there's something else. And that something else is this. The distance that we have right here, are we going from inside painted surface or are we going to the midpoint of the wall? What's our measurement? Inside painted surface. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So here and here, we're doing that. Now, location line. It says wall center line. Boy, sure would be nice. Sure would be nice if we could change that. So let's go ahead and click that drop down and look at our choices. So hit this drop down and look at your choices. Okay, so what do you think makes the most sense here?
Finish face interior.
Finish face interior. I would say so too. So go to finish face interior and click. Now we are ready to go. Now, before we go any further, whenever you're working in Revit, Revit will allow you to just draw like a linear wall. Okay, in other words, you point A, point B, the wall is generated. But there's other tools. And the one we're going to use right now is this one. This is rectangle. Click on the rectangle. Now, when you click on the rectangle, it's going to prompt you to select the first corner. So click on the rectangle, and you're going to pick on the first corner right here. So you're going to click here, and you're going to go ahead and just make a rectangle. Don't worry about the size, and then press your escape key twice. You have to press your escape key twice to get out of the command. If you don't do that, you remain in the command, and mayhem ensues. So you want to be careful to make sure that when you're done, you press your escape key twice to get out of the command, okay? You guys with me? Y'all have a rectangle? Does anybody not have a rectangle? Okay, if anybody does not have a rectangle, by the way, I've got a bunch of teacher assistants in this class. I hereby deputize you as teacher assistants, okay? So anybody, if you're sitting next to somebody and you know how to do something that they don't know how to do, please help them, okay? You're all deputized, all right? Fair? Fair?
Sure.
Okay. Is there any money in it? Well, no, but you'll have my deep appreciation, you know, and isn't that great? And that plus $4 will get you a coffee at Starbucks, okay? And okay, so now what's that?
Not even. You can't miss.
Not even. Not even. Okay. Yes, sir. Okay.
This is modified wall. This is kind of how we just started.
Okay. Are you doing double duty here on your laptop too?
Great. Wall center.
What's your pressures?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now what we're going to do here is I actually know I've heard these. And go over here to this area. So, your project browser package. You're back in business, okay? And okay, that good? All right. And yeah, that sounds good. And here's the picture here. Yeah. I can make this level like this. Yep. And then there's the turn. And go ahead and rectangle and just take 2 points. You'll probably zoom in really far. Just go to 2 points. And those are good. And zoom in really far. Right. To get rid of the controls, you double click the wheel on the surface. And rectangle. Okay, now by the way, you're going to need to hand this in. So if you want to do that, let's get out there. Well, you want to be inside because those are elevation marks. Do you have to do that? No, because you can always move away. But it's just to give you an idea as far as what you're doing. So it's not like, oh, I ruined everything. It's not that much. But what happens when you look at your elevations, you'll be looking at the inside of your garage or something. Because you know if you do it. So that's all. It's so you can just take them and move them and you drag them. But they just give you an idea as far as what you're starting with. So good question, very good question. Okay, now what we have here is a very crude beginning, but it's enough to get us started. Now, what we want to do is we want to make this 30 feet by 30 feet. So go ahead and click on this wall here. When you click on that wall there, notice that when you zoom in, it's actually going to the midpoint of the walls. Even though we drew it a certain way, we still have to align these and make sure they're going where they're supposed to go. Because we drew it, we just didn't tell it to make it 30 feet by 30 feet. But that's okay. So remember these. Click on it once and twice, and now it's inside. Click on this once and twice, and now it's inside. You guys with me? You click on that little blue dimension line, and that moves it. So you're now dimensioning the inside painted surface. You guys with me? You guys with me there? Over here? Yeah. Okay. Now what you want to do is click on this and type in 30 and press enter. And that inside surface to inside surface is now 30 feet. Okay, now we need to do the other one. So you want to click on this right here. I'm sorry, click on the bottom one. Click on the bottom one, and we're going to do the same thing. You want to make sure that your dimension line, your witness line, is actually on the inside painted surface. So I do it for both these areas. And I'm deliberately zooming a lot so you guys get the idea. And then I go out here. You're going to be using your mouse a ton. And then you're going to click here and type in 30 again. And now we have our 30 foot by 30 foot room, just like that. If it's not perfectly in the center, you could move it. We're not going to worry about it right now. Just zoom in. Okay, everyone with me so far? Okay, is anyone not with me? Okay, great. No shame if you're not. I want to make sure this is our first night. Okay, so don't worry about it. Okay, I have about 15 minutes. Okay, we'll get there. So now what you want to do is you want to save this thing. So go to File and Save As. File, Save As, Project. File, Save As, Project. If Project is dimmed out, it's because you double-clicked on a template. All right? So click on Project. Now, when you have this here, we don't want to save it to our downloads. You can save this in a number of places. For tonight, just put it on your desktop. And then you're going to put it on your flash drive, your thumb drive. So go out here, and you're putting it on the desktop, and you're going to name this here. Now, I am a real stickler about a few things. And there's a reason why. Because in the real world, there's sticklers about file naming conventions. So therefore, if you're not good at spelling, you're going to get good at spelling. Because you're going to check yourself. All right? And this is not too hard for you. So we're going to call this right here. What is the name? I think we said CAD Clash. Let me make sure that's the name. Because I want to make sure I'm there. So just hold on a second. I'm going to check it and verify over here. And we're going to name this right here. CAD Classroom. Yeah, this one, okay. Okay. All right. Okay, here is what the name is going to be. The naming convention is CAD Classroom. Now, please notice it's all in capitals. CAD Classroom space hyphen space your last name, not my last name. Okay, I've had students do that and thinking, no, you don't need to do that. I know I'm in charge of this class, but you don't do that. So CAD Classroom with your last name.
Okay.
Yes, all caps. That tends to be standard. There are big advantages to it too, because what happens then is you can easily find your files because not everyone does that. If you do it this way, it sticks out, particularly in the files we're looking at because they're all uppercase and lowercase, but ours aren't. So CAD Classroom with your last name, and I'm going to go ahead and do this. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing this just so I can identify it. Actually, I'm going to make it 9-4. I'll just do that. You don't have to do that part. You only have to do the CAD Classroom with dash your name. Save it. Okay, so now that we've saved that, we have the basics. Okay, now we're going to put a floor in here. Now the floor is easily done, and we're going to put a cheesy carpeted floor in here, okay, like we did the other day. So to do this, we go over here to floor, click the drop down for the floor, and go to floor architectural. Floor architectural, and go there. And then when you do that, you're going to notice that this says floor wood truss joint 12-inch carpet. Okay, and it's this hideous burgundy carpet. That's okay. We're just doing this to see how it looks. So now to do this, what we're going to do is you're going to notice up here you have a boundary line here. Okay, so we're going to define the boundary line. Also, we have this right here, which is a rectangle. We're going to use the rectangle. So click on the rectangle, and you're going to pick the upper left corner here and just pull it down, and a purple box shows up, and you're going to pick the outside, just like that. Pick those 2 points. Now, once you've done that, you can tell Revit whether you like it or not by clicking on the green check mark. You click on the green check mark if you like it, you click on the X if you don't. So click on the green check mark, and it looks like that. And you'll notice that there's some speckles here. Okay, now let's take a look at it. To look at it in 3D, you go up here to your little house. Click on little house there, click there, and there it is. Now, let's say you want to see it in its realistic view. We go down here, like we did before, and you choose realistic. And now you're seeing that. And this gives you an idea as far as what you created thus far. Any questions thus far? Is it okay? Does anybody not have the carpet? Okay. All right. Arnold, do you have it? I'll show them what to do it. Yeah, help each other out. Yeah. Something happened?
Yeah,
All right, let's say
I
that.
can't say it.
Let's see.
I completely closed it out, reopened it, properly.
Okay, here's what happens is it looks like you double click on the template. Okay, so what you're gonna do here, we can fix it. We can fix it now, Rob. Just go to file and save as. And save as. The only one's available is the template. So there's the template, which is fine. And so go to your desktop. And class worksheet, go ahead. Just go ahead at the end, which is RT. Put the number 1 behind CAD Classroom. Put the number 1 right behind and hit save. Okay, I'm going to close this file. And save. Okay, now what you're going to do is you're going to go to, and you're going to go to, click on new, go to your browse, and now you're going to go to your desktop. On your desktop, are you going to go ahead? You're going to find that. So you're going to scroll down a little bit, find out about it. Click on that, click open, and then hit OK. Now what you're going to do is you're going to save it. Your file, save as, and you're going to save the project. Now what you're going to do is go into the desktop. You're going to type in all caps right there, CAD Classroom space dash space your last name. Yeah.
I'm at it.
Hold on a second. Yeah. Refresh your screen check. You are right now in All right, you are,
Okay.
all right, let's do this. First of all, you are missing more properties. So you're gonna have to go to your view tab and go to your user interface on the far right and go ahead and put a check mark in property. Gotta have, happens to everybody. Now, next thing you wanna do is this, just hit your save. Hit your save. Okay, now, there it is right there. Go ahead and go to your.
So you want me to
And click your upper. There, outside, to the outside. Click, and then hit the green check mark. Beautiful. Press your escape key to release it. And then you're gonna go to this house. Good, and then zoom into it. And then see this, you're gonna click on this down here, this right there. Click on that. And go to release. Yep. Go to release. Oh, yeah, who else had questions? Good. Good. All right. Good. Okay, so, 10 minutes, okay, let's see how far we get here. Okay, so you got this saved. Now, what we're gonna do next is we got this happening. Now, we need to put a door in. Remember it? You got that door right there. We said we're going right to the center. It's a 36 by 84 inch door. So go back to level one. And we're going to put that up here. We're going to put that on this wall right here. Okay. So to do this, go up here and click on, see door right here, click on door. Then you click on door. If it doesn't say 36 by 84, change it to be 36 by 84. Go ahead and do that. Then what we're going to do is we want to do one thing, tag on placement. We talked about tagging, remember? So click on this right here. It says tag on placement. When you click on that, it turns blue. Now notice that right now I have the universal not allowed symbol. Revit's broken, man. No, it's not. You can't put a tag on nothing. Watch. As soon as I touch a wall, boom. So that's what's happening. You have to touch a wall. If you don't touch a wall, there's nowhere to put it. So Revit, again, Mike, the constraints, you can't just put it anywhere. This is an AutoCAD, or SolidWorks. You're constrained. So I go and take it, I'm going to pull it in right here. And then if I just move it over a little bit, it automatically is trying to center it in the wall. 15'4" is what I'm getting. When you see 15'4" on each side, that's a center. Go ahead and click, and it'll do that. Press your escape key twice. Did anybody not get that? Okay. Yes, and help each other. That's a great thing. Yep. Thank you for helping each other. It's good to see. Thank you very much. It's good. How are we doing here? Okay, first of all, what do we do? And turn on properties. And when this happens, you're in an infinite group. This is a no problem with Revit. Just click the save.
I like just
Okay, hit save. Okay, there. Now you're good to go. Now go ahead and click the rectangle. Oh, you already have it. Okay,
Yeah.
Just hit X. Yes. Okay, good. And then click on this right here, the house. Okay, and zoom in there. You want to click on this right here and go to realistic. There you go. Zoom in. You want to do the same thing. You want to go ahead and press your escape key. You're available now. Okay, good. And go ahead and submit that and go to realistic. Zoom in. So that's ready to go now. Just click on door and just take it, put it there, and make sure it's halfway. And it's okay. There, pressure escape. Good. Okay, everybody save your work. Save your work. Okay, we do not have enough time to finish this, so we're gonna save it. Now, here is your first assignment. You're not gonna submit this because it's not done yet. When we come in next week, we will finish it. Okay, there's only a little bit left. You want to save this. If you don't save it onto a flash drive or mail it to yourself or do something so you have it, you're going to have to do all this next week, and I'm not going to tell you how. So you have a responsibility now to save this and know you have saved it. That is what you need to do right now. I know this is very basic, but I cannot tell you how many students I've had come through here who say, oh, I don't have it. Save it and make sure you have it saved. So get your flash drive, plug it in, save it to your flash drive, and we're going to use that next week. If you don't have your flash drive, save it to the desktop and mail it to yourself. That's all you have to do. Make sure you have it. That's your job. If you don't know how, ask somebody next to you or ask me. You guys can do this. So again, you are not submitting this tonight. It's not done. You're just saving it so you have it. I'm doing the same thing. And next week when we come in, you are going to take your little flash drive out. You're going to plug it in. You're going to pull that thing back up, and we're going to go right back into it. Okay? And the reason I'm doing it this way is because this way it shouldn't be lost. If you want the absolute securest way to do this, simply take it from your desktop, go to your mail it to yourself, and then you'll have it. Okay? That way. Now, if you don't have it next week, I will have zero sympathy. I'm not telling you how to do it all over again. You can take a zero on the assignment. I've been scrupulous about everything I've said. You have to take responsibility on this one. If you don't know how, I will tell you how, but make sure you do that. Don't walk out of here without having your work saved. All right, are we clear? Now, I'm telling you this because I'm also professional. I cannot tell you how many times I've worked on something. I just get into a full lather and I work for 2 hours or 3 hours on something and I forget to save it and there's a system crash and I lose everything. Save your work and know that you have saved your work. Are we clear? Once you've done that, adios. Watch the game. And I think the Eagles, I think it's a two touchdown spread, I think, yeah. All right. All right, yeah.
Could you help me find the file to send email it to myself? I don't
Did
have
you,
a
did you
flash drive
save it
yet.
to your desktop?
Yes.
Okay, then what you do is you go ahead and just say, add subject, and just say CAD classroom flat.
I would have.
Okay, then what you do is you click on this paper clip. And go to browse this computer, never OneDrive, go to the desktop. Okay, grab CAD Classroom Query. No, this one, not the 001, this one right here. Always the one with the later time, always, always, always. And then hit open. Attach as copy. There you have it. And go ahead and, okay, put me on there too. Because I don't want you to lose it. Just type in, that's good. Then just go ahead and hit send. Okay, and then stop and look at your inbox, and it should be in your inbox. So just click on the inbox right here. You don't have anything in your box, okay? Go down here, this inbox. Okay, what you're saying? Go to your sent items. Okay, that's good. Go back to your inbox, just make sure it's there. Yeah, there it is. So now you're good to go. All right, yeah.
Do I have to turn my computer off before I take the USB out?
Oh, to eject it, that's a great question, actually. Click on this little arrow right there. And click on that arrow, there's your thing. Click on it, and then hit eject. Okay. Because if you don't, I will tell you this right now, if you don't eject it, you can actually screw up your flash drive and the actual writing that goes on in the directory structure will get all scrambled. So it's always a good idea to eject.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew there was something
Yeah.
weird with it, but didn't know how to take it out.
No, I've actually had that go wrong, and it really sucks because you plug it back in and there's nothing. It's not okay.
I just did that.
Well, you're probably okay. You're usually okay unless you've done it like 1,000 times.
Okay,
You know, so you're probably okay. If it's a brand new flash drive.
it's brand
you're good.
new. Okay.
There we go. Yeah, you too, man. See you. God bless you. Enjoy the service. Yeah. Well, wherever you go, whatever you do, you'll do something.
So go do Alpha.
I'll break it.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay, let's.
Can I look for my
let's
break
take,
space?
Yeah.
a little Square. Next one's that. Okay. So that's there. You send it there. Okay. Looks like.
It looks here.
So, yeah, go do that. So that's about, yeah, it's really about 50. You can send it to yourself. So we're on the same page. And just go and type in my name. T-O, it should show up T-H. Type T-H there. My smiling countenance. That. And just hit send. Yeah, well.
Browse this computer. Desktop.
Yeah, okay. We send us a link.
Open.
Oh, okay, let's not do that. The link, that's OneDrive. We all hate OneDrive. So let's just go ahead and go back to.
Thank you
And
so
then
much.
send this out. And it's just a kind of, so just make it. And, yeah, hit the box, okay, there, and put your name in there. Great, and then put my name on it too. Great. And then, for the subject, just type in CAD classroom file. And this is that. And then, hit the, whenever you attach the file, you hit the so click on that and go to browse this computer and go to your, where you save the desktop.
Thank
And,
you.
hey, you too, have a good night, click on that, that's it right there. And, okay, now, attach the copy, always attach the copy, it's much safer. And everyone hates OneDrive. All right, then you're good to go, then hit send. And it is done, you're good. Cool. All right, man, all right. So thanks for sticking with me, and I know this is a lot.
I just forgot my flash.
Oh, it happens. I know that. That's why you're not alone. You're not alone. That's why I always say just mail it to yourself. You're not sure. That way you just feel what up. There's always a way to get around it. But I just don't want anyone to lose their work because that's demoralizing. So, all right. Well, Bryson, nicely done. We'll see you next Tuesday. All right. Oh, come on. All right. All right. Have a good night. Thanks.